Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Hello, hello, hello. How is your week going?
Oh, he's going all right, but I feel kind of short, guy. What's going on with this chair, bro?
I gotta feel tall some way.
It's all right. It's all right. It's a little better. Yeah, I think you tried to set me up over here. Blue chair, blue color, switched around, said ha ha ha. Short guy, short chair.
So, how was your week? Anything new? Anything exciting?
Um, exciting. My week. Woo. Um. Wow. I have to think about this. Pause. How was your week?
You know, just what's going on in the world. You have like I just was more appreciative, right? Just seeing what's on the news and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So my week was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
It was pretty
You
good.
felt good when you checked your bank account and knew he had some money in there, unlike certain people, Mr. Bolt. They bolted away with his cash, bro. Whew, gone, just like that.
And
Sticky stuff.
And I was talking to some of this, some of my students about that, and I said, hey, these are materialistic things that people can just take away. So it's really important to have people that have your best interests. Very sad.
Okay. Materialistic, yes, but it's also part of his long-term investments. So it's rightfully his property, or I think the legal term is monies, right? And it's unfortunate that you put your trust in people,
Yeah.
and in that trust, they swindled you. Well, they just didn't swindle him; they swindled a lot of people on a serious level. And I say swindle,
Yeah.
like this is like a big thing. Like I'm just gonna put it out there. There are some officials of the Jamaican heritage that fingers should technically right now be pointing at, but I don't know what's going on, Mr. Holness.
I think I heard it from my pastor. He said, people hurt people that hurt. People that are doing all this stuff, they're really hurting, right? It doesn't make it right, but at the same time, I think materialistic things, they come and go, and I think we have this discussion, where does our faith lie, right? And the importance is sometimes, we struggle with it, but these are materialistic things, like you said, right? And I know I'm going off topic, but
That's okay.
I think,
It's a hot topic, so we're bopping with
but
it.
you know what? I think, as much as you receive from the world the love and praise, you can't forget the foundation. Yeah. You gotta just the foundation. You can never forget it, and I'm pretty sure Usain came from a Christian background. You didn't?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go that far. I would say that as Jamaicans growing up, we're all God-fearing people. Coming from the
That
land of Jamaica
foundation.
myself. I'm not saying he does not know who God is. I'm not that fast into his business like that. However, me and that gentleman was born one day apart. You know what I mean? One day apart, same year.
Same hospital?
No sir. I was born at home like a real Jamaican on the couch. That's what's up. Yeah, I don't know where Usain Bolt was born. Trelawney, somewhere in Trelawney, I think. Don't quote me, okay? But one day apart. He got the speed, I got the long distance. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, but you know what? Just one of those things where it's unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate. Let me say something on that. Sorry to cut you. My
No
apologies.
problem. Give me the hand.
My apologies. I read something about it, and there was a lady that's basically taking the full brunt. She had like her written testimony of what transpired, and honestly, after reading that, she's like, "Oh yeah, I would, that's the word. She would produce materials that are fraudulent, or to say, yeah, this person wanted to sell X amount of their shares, so we liquidated it for this and for that." And part of her reasoning was her father was very sick, and he had cancer, and they had to do some out of what's the word, out of country treatment. Okay, okay. All right. Say you did that. Say you took some money to bring him to America, Europe, who knows, wherever he decided to do his top-notch A1 cancer treatment, and then a couple years after that, he died, and then you had to pay for the funeral. Well, let me ask you something. The cancer treatment and the funeral, no way on God's green earth is that gonna go around 10 million US dollars. That's like 1.2 billion Jamaican, or 1.8 billion Jamaican dollars. It doesn't add up. You know what I mean? So her testimony to me doesn't make sense. However, on the same hand, I feel like, you know, when you get those Jamaicans that call you and say, oh, this happened, oh, that happened, so-and-so's in the hospital, or I need to go do a hospital test, blah, blah, blah. It sounds like the same mentality, just on a more lucrative, smarter stage, where they taking your money and doing their thing with it. And now that they're caught, they got this excuse as to where the money went. However, I think it's a lot bigger than that, because not just one or two, I think 3 people were mentioned in their testimony. I don't think it was 3 people. I think there was like it was a multilateral scheme of people, government official type people. You get what I'm saying, Mr. Holness? You know, you better come out of the closet. I just played. Go ahead.
Yeah, like, you know, it's unfortunate, but, you know, hopefully he gets it, you know, figured out, and the legal team, you know, does their job. But it's just sad, because I really enjoyed track and field when I was younger, and you know, I used to watch him set records and, you know, uplift a lot of people, you know, in the world. So it's unfortunate. That's one issue that I was kind of shocked. But history has, you know, history repeats itself, right? You had Ben Johnson, you had Donovan Bailey. So it's not surprising, but it, you know, something's gonna happen, right? And it's unfortunate that it happened to him.
Now, you mentioned Ben Johnson, Donovan Bailey. Can you please touch on that for me, please?
You know, Ben Johnson was a really good guy. Like, I saw him at York when I was training with this gentleman named Pops. He was from Jamaica as well, and he was really good. So he started coaching when he moved to here. But every time I saw Ben Johnson, he was, you know, very friendly and kind. But, you know, there's that other piece, you know, where there's allegations made, and I don't know if it's true or not. I don't have the facts. But again, you know, it's just unfortunate, right?
Right. So, let's talk about Ben Johnson for a quick second. So,
Was he your cousin or something?
nah, man, not at all. Just because I'm black don't mean I don't know everybody.
Wow.
Come on now.
Wow.
My cousin from another mother. Yo, Dre HVAC, serve with a smile. Don't forget that. Anyways, yeah. So a lot of years back, I saw this interview, not an interview, a documentary, maybe interview documentary, call it what you want, about Ben Johnson, and, you know, his rise and fall and what transpired. And he openly admitted, he's like, you know, everybody was doing it. You knew the rules, or you knew the regime. He was a fast guy. He had the starting, but he would tap out too quick. He couldn't finish. Like, he boom, and then so I guess that's where steroids came into play, to give you that longevity. And all the runners, America, Canada, U.S., the other side of the border, Russia, call it what you want, China, they all are on the same level. So the thing is, you take the steroids, or whatever drug it is. I don't even know if it's steroids at this point. The drug of choice, or drugs of choice, you know, to help to maintain your muscle, or to keep them from deflating on you before you reach your maximum, right? And the theory is, if you do what you do and whatever, and 6 months before a big race or whatever, you'll get it out your system, but your muscle will still like have that muscle memory or whatever. It'll last. Okay, great. Now, fast forward to the big race where he was discredited. There was a guy named Andre something. I don't remember his name, but he ran for the American team. And then there was the other guy that was like his supposed rival. You see, I don't even remember the rival's name. He's not that important. He tried to make a song, and Carl Lewis. Carl Lewis? Is his name Carl Lewis? Thank you, Deacon. Thank you. His name is Carl Lewis, our lovely Deacon over there, Mark Harry. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. So, Carl Lewis, his rival or whatever. So it was America versus Canada. But this guy named Andre, I don't remember his last name. The only reason why I remember his first name is because he has a good name like me, but he did a bad thing. But anyways, so Ben Johnson basically stated that Andre gave him something in the drink, and after that, he had to do the urine test or whatever, and then his chart was boom off the Richter scale, right? And he knew it was that Andre guy, and the interviewers got to the guy and said, hey, you know, FYI, you know, can we get you on camera to say blah, blah? He's like, no comment. And then he's like, basically said, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Who knows, right? So I believe Ben Johnson. You know, I believe him because, hold on, the way how they stripped that Jamaican, I won't even call him a Canadian, the way how they stripped that Jamaican of all his accolades just based on allegations supposedly proven but that were pushed upon him, I think that's horrible. But anyways, that's my piece.
Just to add on to what you're saying, you know, he came here from Jamaica, you know, with his mom.
Yes.
And, you know, during I think it was the 80s, right? And you got to understand, racism, you know, was pretty big.
Still big.
Still is, but
just a little misconstrued now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it still is. Full frontal.
And, you know, him being the only child, I think, he was just trying to do something positive then, you know, instead of getting involved in, you know, crime. If someone offers you substance and you have no idea what it is and you take it and you become really good at it, you're going to continue to do it, right? Nobody was deteriorating him from doing it, right? Like,
you mean
now,
his coaches?
Now, like, in school, there's a whole bunch of awareness and help, right? Especially when you get to high school, right? There's a lot more research happening. I think during those times, I don't think athletes were protected as how they are now, right? Like, social media is so huge on what is happening, right? Back in the 80s, there was no Facebook. There was no, you know, Instagram. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So just to be like, Ben Johnson was a really kind person, right? Like,
Very.
For when I saw at York, you know, every time I saw him, I would say hi. He would nod his head, and, you know, if someone asked for an autograph, you know, he would give it. But, you know, during that time, it was like, I know the documentary you're talking about, and I saw it as well. But he just wanted to do well for not only himself but make his mom proud. Like, you told me, like, I respected you because you posted pictures of your mom when it was her birthday.
Of course.
Right?
It's my
Like,
mother.
the Caribbean culture is you just want to honor their parent. Like, you want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my
Right.
son, that's my daughter. Like, you want to make sure that name, you know, has, you gave it substance of achievement, a high achievement. And that's what he wanted to do. And I felt like there were people in his corner, like you said, coaches, you know, that gave him wrong information.
Well, again, I guess you could say they were all doing it. And he said basically what you're saying, you know, he didn't know any better. The coach said, yo, do this, training regimens, blah, blah, blah. And this is how you get it done. Him not knowing any wiser because he didn't have the information readily available to him, or maybe he had tunnel vision, was blinded by, you know, the moment, and just trying to prove that he's the best and liked where he was at, you know. And I lost a little respect for Donovan Bailey when they had that, you know, when Donovan Bailey did amazing that year and he got all his accolades, he won all those races, and then somebody said, hey, let's have Donovan Bailey face Ben Johnson, you know. And Donovan Bailey won the race, but then after that he kind of trash talked Ben Johnson a little bit, and I that wasn't cool, bro. That wasn't cool. Hey, come on, keep it clean. Come on, brothers, come on, do better than that. But anyways,
But I think it's just like competitive. Like, when you're competitive, it's really hard to find that balance, and some people can find that balance to control their temperament, right? But some people also use that trash talk to motivate themselves to perform at a level.
Don- Donovan Bailey didn't need any motivation at that time. When Donovan Bailey was at his top, he was at his peak, he was at the prime. That race was like the icing on the cake for him. There was no need for him to push a man while he was already down.
I agree with you.
Come on, Donovan. I respect you, but that, bro, come on.
Yeah, like sportsmanship is huge, right? And I think it's almost like in a sport, there's a lost art of it, right?
Yeah.
But again, like I don't remember that race, right? But I just respect the art of, you know, when a human dedicates their life to, you know, a sport and own that craft, right? We do boxing, right? As much as he jokes around, I beat him up in the ring, you know, we dedicate ourselves, and we're old now, but when we were younger.
Who's old? Who's old? Shame on you.
Maybe,
boy.
Maybe the camera's not catching your gray hair. But
who's old?
This hat is covering my bald spot.
Yeah. Glad you called out yourself on that. Your bald spot, not mine. My wisdom hair is great hair, buddy. Thank you very much. Mr. DeVille, do you need a close-up of this? Because I will show you. There's some good hairs on my head.
As boxers,
you know. Never beat me up, by the way.
If you would like to see, we can do for charity. I will get in shape for charity.
Sounds like a good idea, buddy.
Do you have a charity in mind?
Yeah, the charity in my pocket.
Listen.
At least I know where the money is going.
You know what? I would like to do a charity. If we get enough views, and we'll split the money. I would like to go to my school, St. Bernadette's in Ajax, and we could do your charity for your pocket.
Nah, I ain't gonna go for my pocket.
We got a whole heap of picnic, you know?
We got a whole heap of picnic, but we can do something with that money. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Pocket's all right.
But you know what? I know you said something, and I know we're going from place to place.
That's
This guy's on the phone.
No.
It's multitasking.
Yeah, multitasking. Keep telling him you got to multitask, you know. New age.
You know, talking about charity, you know, that kind of ties into these athletes giving to these charities and these people kind of taking, you know, the money. You know, these charities are not honest.
Yes.
And I was upset when I found out, you know, certain establishments. I don't want to say their name. I don't have that money to fight a lawsuit.
I can talk about one.
He can, because he makes a big bucks.
Whoa.
HVAC. What's your advertisement? HVAC.
Trey HVAC. Service with a smile. Holla at your boy. Okay?
But I'm just telling you, I don't have the funds to go with these big, you know, corporation, charity, for-profit or organization. You know, I'd rather just see a person and, you know, say a little prayer and give that to them, right? But again, people are people, and you know, you have good intentions, but it could always get corrupted, right?
100%. So when I was a young lad, I think I was like, I don't know, grade 7.
It's back in the day.
Yeah, man. Grade 7, grade 8.
No gray hair.
It was definitely grade 7, at least bare minimum grade 7. So I used to work for this guy, and the foundation was the Garden of Missing Children Foundation. So basically, we go door to door selling chocolates.
Oh, I did that too.
You see? So I'd be like, hi, my name is Andre from the Garden of Missing Children. We're here in your neighborhood trying to raise awareness for these children here that are lost. You know, blah, 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 show them photos. The way how we go about raising awareness is by selling these chocolates. No, first I've asked them if they've seen these kids and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, the way we go about raising awareness is by selling these chocolate-covered almonds or chocolate fondue bars or whatever. Would you like buy one? And then my please at the end of it, you know, that was like my salesman pitch out the door, you know. It's either a home run or not home run. But
Andre is 6'3", so he was that height since grade 7.
Nah, I wasn't, bro. But I was still skinny. But anyways. So, yeah. And then I heard, you know how, CBC or CTV or whatever,
Yeah.
they'd have like the whole thing out there in the news, and whoever the head guy was like, he was put on blast for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, suckers. But hey, I was making money. I was selling chocolates. I was making, buddy. You know what it feels like to go home with $30 to the grade 7, being able to buy your own lunch and all that stuff. Yo, that's independence. Look at me now, boy. What's up?
Yeah, just to add on to that, it was just, it was good and bad, because at the end of the day, the positive was, like you mentioned, the independence. The negative was, the charity wasn't standing for what it was supposed to do.
It really wasn't.
The higher ups
Right.
got that, big slice of cake.
A big slice.
And but I think things happen where it gets exposed, right?
Oh yeah. So let me explain something. Long and short. Haiti, the Haitians, the earthquake, a couple years back. The funding, Red Cross, whomsoever, blah blah blah. The money.
Allegedly. Don't say that.
Hold on. Okay. All right. Yo, come looking for me, bro. You ain't got no money. Ain't got no money for you. But I got some clothes. You guys like that donation stuff? I give it to you all the time. So yeah, you can have some more of that.
He didn't say red. He said red toss.
YouTube's gonna be on my box side. So, anyways, yeah. So the foundation that is set up, and the X amount of money that's given to these countries to help them in their time of aid and their time of need. Realistically, they only see, if they see anything, it's maybe 10% of the proceeds that were raised in that foundation or organization where everybody has given to it. And then some folks, entities, people, conglomerates walk away with making money off of people's tragedy, which is really sad, and that's not good.
Yeah, and like you would hear the backstory of it, right? Like a couple of months pass or a couple of years pass, and allegations come to be facts. So it is unfortunate, but again, this is society. This is the world we live in, and history has.
But no persecution.
That's a big word. I don't think some people understand that. Can you explain that?
So the average person, let's just say Andre or Sebastian, went to the store and got caught trying to steal something, So now there's a process that happens or there's in place. For instance, he went and stole a candy bar. The candy bar is like $1, okay? The law has the extent to persecute him to the, I think the terminology is theft under 5,000. So the full frontal force of the law is now upon his shoulders as to where he has committed a crime in the eyes of the law, and now there's a penalty to be paid. Whether it was $1 or $4,999, he's got to pay. Now, what that means is it's either he pays with his time, with community service, with some sort of monies of his own, or he's going behind bars. But then he's left to fend for. He has got to get a lawyer and all these other things that he probably doesn't have. So then now he's basically going to get the book thrown at him, and he's not the average tone. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's even more harder. Now, with that being said, now on the flip side, when there's white collar crime and it happens, a lot of people get a slap on the wrist, even though what they have done is more damaging to the peoples that they have done this to or where it has come from, and that becomes a problem.
Yeah, I know we're going from topic to topic, but there are certain laws that are in practice that is not fair. The system isn't fair, but there are people in the system, like our friend Peter, who is a remarkable guy, right?
Yeah.
He's a person that upholds the law and
stand-up guy,
and he knows how to talk to youth, at-risk youth, adolescents, and he just talks to them with respect, and positive energy, and he's a great police officer, and there's a number of them out there, right, in the system. There's also, lawyers that are amazing. There was an amazing lawyer that I know, right? Pepperton, she's awesome. There's a bunch of them, but you know, they always, emphasize like, just do better. And sometimes people are presented with that and some people are not, right? But at the end of the day, how many times are you going to break the law and they're going to give you chances? Our law is pretty good compared to other countries, right? Like there's a 3-strike rule. You heard about that, right?
Oh, I know who put that into place. Mr. Clinton himself, or the Clinton regime put that into place. And I don't know why. I don't know if he's Democrat or liberal or whatever you want to call it.
I can tell you why. In the States, it's a capitalist,
Right?
and the institutions
Make
over
money.
there, yeah,
Yeah.
it's how many
Per head.
Yeah, how many people can we put in a cell, right? In California, in certain parts, it's privatized.
Yeah.
And when it's privatized, you have these individuals that take money from these individuals that are lacking, funds to fight their charge.
Right. So, with that being said, like you said, it's a capitalist system. So, people prey on other people. People will put things in some folks' mind. Like, you remember they said, oh, the war on drugs and this and that, and like they made this whole big propaganda. This is what's going on. The Hispanics, the blacks, they're the cause of all these drugs. When, buddy, they are not. They were given, what's that gentleman named Noriega? He'll tell you that the CIA gave him the stuff. The famous Spanish guy from Colombia, what's his name? Escobar. The CIA was in his back pocket, or the back pocket of the CIA was in his pocket. I don't know, somebody, but Escobar and his family, they were holding it down. Like the whole drug trade thing, they supplied the needs for this, and then they basically flooded the market, and after flooding the market, they start pointing fingers. They're the upper echelons making trouble for the average people, because if they don't do that, well, people will be happy and people will be good, but they need a reason to make more money. And unfortunately, greed sets in, and when the greed sets in, people start to do things that are contrary, and that is the unfortunateness of this world and the powers that be, aka governments. And that's the truth of why you see so many youths behind bars. That's the truth of why you see so many people suffering unnecessary, or that's the reason for so much injustice, if I could just sum it up to that.
But that's society in itself, right? That's history. Like there are so many errors where capitalism, privatization, right? It's, caste. There's so many things where, the biggest system is the royal family.
Oh, you want to start on that? Come on.
But you know what?
I
Just
want
to
behave myself.
there was a basketball coach, and I respect him so much for him to answer an interviewer who asked a question. Hey, have you met the royal family? He's the head coach of the Celtics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the interview said, "Hey, have you met the royal family?" And he responded so,
Politically correct.
but it was the way he said it. He said it with grace. He said it elegantly. He said it peacefully. He said it proudly. And I said, wow, like during this time and era, you have to hide your political beliefs, correct? And your religious beliefs. This
So-
head coach of the Celtics said, no, I haven't met the royal family. I haven't met Mary, Joseph, or Jesus.
Wow, I like that.
And I literally said,
I like that.
that was beautiful. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's no point
The royal family.
in
I like
life
that.
where you think you're better than me based on your status. Me and you are equal. Judge me as a character. Judge me as a person. Judge me what I do for the community. There is no way I'm going to kneel down. I'm going to bow unless, you're what I believe in. Like, that is my faith,
Right.
right? I don't think the royal family deserves that type of worship acknowledgement.
Amen.
And for me, and again, this is my opinion, right? For me, I was taught to fear one person. That's God, right? My father, my mother always told me, fear God. Like, you need to understand, you need to honor us, but you need to honor God first and foremost.
100%.
And we're shifting. We're shifting big time, bro. And when I saw that response from the head coach, literally for him to make that statement, he might be blackballed.
Backlash. Yeah, the backlash is coming.
Blackballed.
Yeah.
And I'll guarantee you, in a couple of segments, we're going to be talking about him because, they're not going to do it now to fire him. They're going to do it in a couple of games.
Yeah.
But for him to be bold, even actors, actresses, athletes, they can't say, hey, I believe in this, or they're going to get backlashed.
Oh, yeah. There's something you said there. I like that about the whole royal family, Mary, Joseph, Jesus. That was good. It's funny, they say that this world, or the Western world, there's freedom of speech. But I noticed that if you really speak your mind to people, how you feel, and your point of view, then either they shun you, they speak all manner of evil about you, they smile in your face, which a lot of people do that one. They'll smile in your face, and then they'll talk behind your back, and it's crazy, If you understand a person and know that they're entitled to their own opinion, they may think that, hey, the earth is really flat, and because I think the earth is round and you think it's flat, then I'm going to judge you differently or think of you differently. Okay, you're entitled to your opinion. That's your belief. That's just how you believe. I can't change that for you. Only you can change that for yourself. I might be able to incline you to some knowledge or some understanding, but if you want to accept it, that's on you, not on me, right? So this world and where it's going, like you said, it's going to a dark place. It's going very dark. And as we're supposed to be children of God, we're supposed to be the light, because one day when everything is said and done, we're going to have to answer to the one that you're supposed to fear, i.e. God. Now, there's a lot of people in this world right now that are moving fearless, right, with not a care in the world, and they don't think that there's consequences for their behavior. And I'd like to say those are mainly the people in power, right, because there's all sorts of oppression that's going on around the world, and it's almost like they're gods in the land because they're getting away with it, but everything comes full circle. It may not come in their time, but it's coming, bro. I'm telling you right now. I've surmised some things I've seen over the past week or two in people's attitude and behavior and how they treat people, and I'm like, you know what? Even if it don't come right now, it's gonna come back to you one way, shape, or another. And if it ain't coming to you, I feel sorry for your offsprings. Just saying.
And just to add, like, I'm not going to sit here and say every day I wake up I'm jolly and happy. Sometimes I'll wake up and maybe I'll something, I didn't get enough sleep, or something happened.
He ate the gummy.
I might have a hard day at work, but I have to check myself, and I have to really, reflect and stop and take a moment, whether that's just calling my parents, calling, a brethren and saying, yo, or calling my, church mentors and trying to get their feedback, or even, taking time away from everybody and just picking up the Bible, or, just reflecting and checking myself. And I think a lot of people don't do that. My dad always tells me, stop and think. Stop and think. And we don't do that enough, right? We're just always go, 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 and react, react, react. Um, but, I guess it's so true what they say, with age comes with wisdom, because I realize as I'm getting older, I need to, slow down a little, and it's very important that we have moments where we check ourselves. And if you have good friends around you, they will call you out and you won't get upset, because like Andre said, like, this is a dark world, but at the exact same time, you don't know how long you have until you're with, God. And until then, try to be the brightest light, right? And I never seen Andre look sour. I never seen this guy upset.
You don't want to see me angry.
He's like this.
You don't want to see me angry.
In the boxing ring, like, I'm fighting him, I'm giving him punches to the face,
Yeah.
and he's like, yo,
You can't get me.
yo,
You can't get me.
you're taking that serious? Yo, you're taking that
Look at
serious?
this, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. All right, put your hand out. Just so people can know.
Yo, listen,
You can't get me.
they know.
Who knows?
They know.
Who knows?
Our club knows.
Yeah, they know.
But
they
this
know.
is, listen,
They know the real deal,
all
how
jokes
they feel.
aside, this is how Andre is.
Yeah, man.
And if he goes quiet or if his mood swings, something's wrong, right? But this guy's always happy. And I appreciate that, right? Because that's the things that I want in my life. I want to be positive, right? Keep people that are positive. And he'll tell me, he'll call me out, he'll be like, yo, listen, we're supposed to meet on this day to do filming.
What
Where you
happened?
at? And I have to tell the truth. I can't lie, right? I have to be accountable for my actions.
100%. Good on you, Sebastian. 100%. Full agreement. No qualms there. Except for the saying he's gonna beat me up.
We should do this charity. I will train. You will train.
Buddy,
Who do you want? Kathy in your corner? Who do you want?
me, myself, and I, bro.
I will take
There's
Peter in my
ego.
corner to train me.
Who? Oh, yeah.
He's
I had a time lapse in my moment. Like, Pete ain't here, bro.
But no, honestly, all jokes aside, I think Andre said, this time is dark.
It's very
This
dark.
world is dark. And meaning, some people are saying, what are you talking about dark? Just people that are just facing a lot of challenges, right? We have politicians that make decisions for us. And again, there's conspiracies and all these things that are happening to people, good people. And, we just have to be positive. And, that comes with, connecting with people, checking yourself, reading inspirational things, connecting with God.
It's okay if you say, well, that's not who I am. That's not how I think I should be. That's okay. That means that's how you're thinking at the time and moment. But when you understand, if I really want to go there, if you understand Christ's ministry and what he was doing, right? He made sure that he was readily available to the people in a way where he could minister unto them, so to speak, serve, or to give them an understanding of who he is and what he's come to do, and how his doctrine is a doctrine that should uplift you, right? Not one that should hold you down into depression or a thought of, oh, I sinned, I'm gonna die. If I don't give that turtle love by this time and moment before the year's out, I'm out. No, Christ came to do away with certain things that certain, how do I say, traditional practices that weren't necessarily good for your salvation. And today in this time and dispensation, we've literally put God on the back burner, and we've prioritized our lifestyle and what the world says comes first. They talk about taking the Bibles or God's word out of the school. So there's a science behind that. When you take away certain things from a person, then they're gonna think that it's okay to do this or to do that. But no, there's still a repercussion for behaving or doing things that are contrary, right? even though they're ignorant of some of the things, they still should know better, especially when you grow up and you understand what's going on. We, as people, I've, I've read certain parts in, I want to say it's First and Second Kings, basically when they're talking about the genealogies of like certain kings who came into power, and some were God-fearing, right? They would worship God, and then some were idolaters, where they do away and they would take out things out of the sanctuary, and they'd put in their Magog, Agog, whoever Gog, and put their what they believe is okay, and God would be vexed with them, And I feel like history is repeating itself. That's what's happening right now. You have people in power taking away from the precepts that don't need to be taken away from. And when you do that, there becomes the great falling away. There becomes a darkness. There becomes the blind people. There becomes people, injustice, immorality. All of these things start to come upon us, right? Now, if you understand what you've read in the Bible and seen in the Bible, some of these things are supposed to come to pass. But at the same time, Jesus said that, we are the salt of this world. We cannot lose our savor or flavor, right? And because of that, we have something that we need to do to keep people in line, keep people from understanding that after this, something is going to befall you. Everybody, I know this world today, everybody's talking about how, death is it, that's it, final chapter. Nah, bro, something's coming. You just can't live and die and then that's that. It doesn't make any sense. However, the unknown to the unbeliever is hard to comprehend. So they will think, this is it. I might as well live my best life and that's it. And you know what's sad? Most of them aren't even living their best life. They're living a dreadful life, And Paul says if it was for this life alone, if it was for this life alone, man would be miserable. Something like that. Paraphrasing. Don't quote me. Right? So we got to remember that this is not just it. And, God always said, the Bible always says that, a righteous man should have his house in order before he goes. And what that means basically is that before you pass on, you got to make sure you're right with God, your house is in order, your children, your family, your wife, everything's said and done and taken care of. Do you know on a scale, well, I shouldn't say that, do you know that a lot of people, when they die, they never took precautions for their own families' things to what's going to happen to that. So just imagine if they weren't worrying about that, were they worrying about their soul and where they were going? So you got to think about these things,
So 2 questions for you. First question is, do you think a person is going to heaven if they don't believe in God? That's first, right? And what I mean is, this person does amazing things in the community, right? Amazing stuff for his family, positive, uplifting, kind, loving, charity, all that shenanigans, right? Do you think that person that doesn't go to church but is a good person, right, will go to heaven?
So, are you asking me somebody that is let me get some clarification. One, this person you say is a good person, a good heart, all this good stuff about them, but they don't go to church?
Correct.
Okay. So now, my next question is, does this person know who God is?
Yep. They heard him.
They heard him?
They heard of him. It's around, right?
Okay. Let me clarify then. Does this person fear God?
I don't know that.
Oh, well, you see, that's the important part. So if you've heard the word and you've chosen to be ignorant to the understanding or what you're supposed to do, but you do the other 99, well, because you missed out on that half or that one, well, the Bible's pretty clear on that. 99 and a half won't do. So, I hold on. I would like to say, I'm not God. God judges the contents of your heart and what's in it. But if you willfully reject him, bro, it's a no-brainer.
For me, I again, this is, I struggle with that because I really believe, you know, that if you're a good person and you're kind and the church has hurt you, you know, you think of people in church to be love and kind, but they're dealing with their own issues. And like my pastor said before, you know, church is like a hospital. You think someone is okay, but they're not fully healed when they leave, right? They're still going through that healing process, and you might not say the right thing when you meet that person. And you know, if they're trying to save people and they're going through their own battles, but they don't know what to say to a person that gets invited, you know, they don't believe in it.
Give me 2 minutes.
Take your
I
time.
have a bathroom break. Very quick bathroom break.
So, sorry, yes. So, you know, I don't know if I was being clear, but, you know, there's people in church that are trying to save people outside of church, and they're not doing a good job because they haven't been healed. That's first. So they get the wrong message. But also, I think and I feel that if you're a good person, and it says in the Bible only God can judge you. I can't judge you, you can't judge them. But I believe that God is going to make that decision. You know, God's going to take everything that you went through in life and make a clear judgment. I think what I'm finding a real big challenge is that there's people that go to church, but they're not living that lifestyle as a Christian. And I stopped thinking that way because I realized I can't, how do I say it? It's really hard what I'm trying to articulate.
It's not up to you.
I'm trying to find a way to say it so it makes sense. When I used to go to church, I always felt like I was being judged because of how I dressed, how I
looked at you.
Right? Yeah, and then I took on that burden of, okay, you're looking at me a certain way, I'm gonna look at you a certain way. But then I realized
rendering evil for evil.
And then I realized it's building a callous on my heart to know God.
Good words.
And I realize just because you go to church doesn't mean you're a good person.
So,
hold on, let me finish.
Ouch.
It means you're healing, right? And that's when I realized, like Pastor was saying, church is a hospital, and it's a continuous place that people need to go to get healing, right? To get certain messages. Sorry, please go and say what you have to say.
So, loaded question. How do I answer? So, Sebastian, we kind of went through this in the pilot, but they'll never see the light of day. I want to say that at the end of the day, people are people. There will be good and not good people, and people on the fence in the churches, right? It's unfortunate. I'm going to say this, misery loves company, right? So sometimes people go to church with the right intention, but with the wrong attitude, right? You went there, you know you need help, but you got some ways about you that just, it's hard to break off of you. And maybe one of those ways is gossip. Like, you just love the gossip, bro. You just love the, as Jamaicans say, you just love the pasa, okay? You just love the pasa. Straight, I'm just talking like this. So, with that being said, before you're there to uplift somebody, you're talking about somebody. And then sooner or later, somebody else with an itching ear starts to talk about somebody. And then it gets back to you. And you're like, I told brother so about my woes, and how come sister, and and such know about my woes when I didn't say X, Y to them, but I said something to you. You, Andre Finley, it was you. Let's use myself as an example, okay? And then it's like, now that person has like a double wound, and that double wound is even harder to heal. And even though you may say you're sorry and you know you're wrong, they find that their trust level has dropped, and because their trust level has dropped, they find reasons to say, forget this church, forget this lifestyle. Who needs God? If these type of people, they start pointing fingers, and that's the problem. We start pointing fingers and we start picking out the beam out of their eye. We guess they are wrong. Okay, we get it. They shouldn't have did what they did. They're wrong, but try to move past that. Now, here's the kicker. And this is my little understanding. Sorry. When certain tests come at you, you either pass or you fail. And you're supposed to learn for the next time around. Don't do that. Don't say that. Behave better this way. Don't continue to fall into certain things. And it's fortunate that sometimes we have vices that we just fall short in some areas, and it's hard, and we need God to help us in that, right? And we can't do it on our own. But at the same time, if you come to the understanding that you've made a mistake, you try not to make that mistake again, and you try to use that experience that you've gotten so that next person that comes, you won't do that same thing again, right? Because if you do it again, well, you know what's going to happen. And then at the end of the day, my personal opinion is when it's your time to talk with the Father above, you're going to be like, yo, what happened? You know what I mean? And I've seen something on YouTube before. It's quote unquote, I can't say it's quote unquote biblical, but it's the guy said something that made sense. He's like, he said that he was before God and God was asking him all these questions and blah, blah, blah. And he made a reference point to Facebook, right? Yeah. And then he's like, but I don't know this person, right? And then he's like, oh, well, God said to him, you said something or you posted a comment that indirectly affected this person. Therefore, this person decided to say, forget you, God. So now that's on your shoulders, right? I can't say that's biblical, but sometimes, like I said, the things that we say will come back to us in one way or another, right? Or it will damage somebody based on what we have said, right? And then we're put in a rough position. The people in church now. The people in church are supposed to be kind-hearted, like I said before, the pilot. They're supposed to have the fruits of the Spirit, meekness, gentleness, long-suffering, kindness, loving, forgiving, loving. Basically, you're supposed to emulate how Jesus walked, talked, and behaved. For example, the women that they said they caught in adultery and what they were, the accusers, I mean, they brought her out. The guy got away scotch-free. I don't want to go there right now. But anyways, but they brought her before the people, and they tempted Jesus, they tempted Jesus. My local understanding. They're like, oh, well, Moses said, now what are we going to do? And Jesus in his infinite knowledge, I mean, like a baby, bro. He was like, yo, you see this sign here? Who is without the sin? Cast the first stone. And I mean, if that didn't hit you in your heart at the time and moment when you were eager to do your so-called justice upon somebody, right? If that didn't cut you, bro, you're not human. You know what I mean? Because it's funny, the word is the word, and Jesus used the word exactly upon them, right? And that's what cut them in the heart. And the word is sharper than any two-edged sword, and that's what we need to use when people are hurt and are down. But we don't use the word. We use devices. We use illusion. We use things that get people to not respect themselves anymore. Yeah. Look who finally showed up. The man of the hour, our special guest.